Hey guys, so it looks like we're about ready to get started. If you log in and join, please just leave a little chat message as to who you are, and so I know you're in here. And yeah, tonight this is our first Sits With live stream. So this is my first time leading a live meditation online, and it's part of my Experiencing Magic program, which I'm sure if you've downloaded my app, you're starting to get familiar with now. There's a few different components that I believe really lead to a successful meditation practice, and not just a successful meditation practice, but also a successful transformational practice, which is what we're really after here, is taking that inner self and transforming it into a higher vibration. And I'll use some of those words like higher vibration in a specific context, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later when we get into the program tonight. But yeah, if you haven't gotten the app yet, go ahead, get the app. You can find it on my Instagram. You can find it on my Facebook page. I'll even put it in my YouTube profile and the comments down in this video. The basis of that program, Experiencing Magic, is really using meditation as a transformational practice to transform our awareness and transform our inner sense, our felt emotional state, and as I would term it, this sort of vibrational capacity of us, in order to impact and manifest and shift things in our lives. And it's been my experience through studying with my teachers, that the only way to do that is through your meditation practice, through this shifting of consciousness and conscious perception, and allowing that to then radiate and manifest out into your life. So a couple things with regards to the program. There's a couple components, key components, that I use in Experiencing Magic. One of those is now breathing. So now breathing is basically a 4-second inhale, a 4-second exhale, and the space between the breath is kept as minimal as possible. So it would look like this: inhaling, exhaling right away, right back into the inhale, right back into the exhale. And you'll see this in a lot of my videos. I coach this sort of now breathing with a 4-second inhalation and a 4-second exhalation. And what that type of breath does is it focus us consciously on the breath. So we have to become more conscious, more deeply involved in our breathing. And by becoming more conscious, more deeply involved in our breathing, we naturally just shift awareness away from the thoughts and away from the thought state. So that's really the first aspect of it, is that just by consciously focusing on the breathing and requiring that inhalation right into exhalation, right back into inhalation, there's no space for the mind to wander and sort of drift off when you're that consciously connected into the breath. The second thing it does is that our normal, or let's say our fearful breathing patterns, or our anxious breathing patterns, or these anchored breathing patterns in our past emotional traumas and energetics that have taken root, as we breathe in a conscious, clear way, as we breathe in a rhythmic, steady way, we'll start to come up against, as we encounter thoughts or sensations or stories or ideas that have trauma or carry some kind of emotional residue with them, that emotional residue actually shifts our breathing pattern. And we can not breathe as deeply. We breathe more shallow. We tend to breathe up in the chest when we're in that constant fear state, that constant fight or flight state. So by doing that conscious rhythmic now breathing, we start to break out of those different patterns that we've accumulated, and keeping that steady breath, even where we're coming up against emotional resistance, starts to break apart that emotional residue and release it. The second part of that is what's called statement. statement is a state that we're meant to be in, and it's a small saying, a small phrase that helps to anchor our conscious mind, our thought mind, into a specific state. So for tonight's meditation, and in my sort of broader Experiencing Magic program, which is a 5-week program consisting of very specific statements that are there to introduce us to this practice and get us out of the sort of mental sphere and living in the past and future to getting into this present moment and fully being present and operating and living our lives from that space. This statement tonight, and you can use this throughout the week whenever you're not engaged in something else, but using this statement, I live my vibration. And what I mean by that, and I'll break that down a little bit before we go into the meditation, because we're going to use that rhythmic now breathing, and we're going to use that statement, and we're going to combine those together in our meditation to get into this sort of flow, this sort of car wash, if you will, of energetic alignment, so that when we come out of our meditation, we're more aligned with who we truly are. And so that I live my vibration, what that really means is that in terms of the pathway of awareness, as my teacher Michael Brown would call it, we have these different layers. So at the lowest layer would be vibration, would be energy. And on top of that layer of vibration, of energy, we start to get a layer of sort of emotional forms that start to arise. So the vibration is really, really subtle. Emotion's a little bit less subtle. We perceive it more. It's more talked about. It's something that is a little bit more palpable in a sense than vibration. And then you move to sort of the mental. So you go from the vibration to the emotional to this mental, where the emotion starts to generate this thought, and you start to have this story about it, and this mental idea, and you start to assign names and assign meaning to things based on this emotion, which arose from the vibration or the disruption of vibration in some cases. And then all that comes out into the physical world. So in saying I live my vibration, we really start to align ourselves with the awareness of what is presenting in front of reality for me, what is presenting out in the material world for me, really gets formed from this vibration that I'm carrying, from this inner state and this inner sense and this core affect of my emotional being and my spiritual being. And so bringing about that awareness and bringing about that capacity to be able to live from vibration, live from a space of not thoughts, not mental, not out in the world, not dealing with that physical characteristics, and not even emotional, not even so much looking at the energetic resonance that's flowing through us that we typically assign meaning to, but really looking at that vibrational capacity. What is the quality that I'm creating and I'm emanating right now? And when we haven't, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes right now because I have some notes on some of the things I want to say. When we have a relationship to that vibration, when we have a relationship to that emotional, energetic center, it has both that internal quality that we begin to shift, and you see it in great meditators. You see it in people that have a presence about them. That's an underlying emotional state that they experience that then manifests in the physical reality of who they are and how they carry themselves. So it's that internal moving to the external that we're really looking to shift. And when we impact things through, physical change in our life, let's say we move to a new city, or we get a new apartment, or we buy a new car. Those physical things can change the emotional state for a certain time period, for a certain moment, while that kind of freshness of it is still there. But then ultimately, if we haven't shifted that vibrational state, if it hasn't really impacted us at a soul level, what ends up happening is the car breaks down, and we start to see that, like, oh, we don't actually like the apartment we live in because the neighbors are too noisy, and the vibrational sort of resonance starts to come out again, manifesting itself in ways where we can notice it again, where it can become conscious again, and we can feel the resistance within us that's been patterned in our lives, so that we can in some way have another reminder, hey, you need to heal this, you need to transform this, because that's part of your journey. And so when we're just shifting things at a physical state, when we're just shifting things at a mental state, when we're just shifting things at an emotional state, right? If we're using drugs, if we're using food, if we're using television, if we're using work, physical activity to shift that emotional state, but we never shift that underlying vibrational core, at the end of the day, those things always sort of tend to come back on us, and they tend to become not necessarily solutions, but they tend to become problems in the long term, because we haven't shifted that emotional state, we haven't shifted that energetic core to be able to not sort of rely on those things anymore to shift our emotions. So really, we're after this search, this journey for finding this energetic essence of who we are, that we lost somewhere along the way, and to bring that back out so we can live as fully, as vibrantly in life as we were meant to. And when we do that, that's experiencing magic. That's what that is. The world is then filled with magic, and it takes on this joy and this presence and this dance. It's only available when we're in that state of the present moment, when we've done the work to clear out the clutter and the emotional residue and wreckage that exists within us. And we've looked at all those patterns in our lives, and we've resolved them. And we're now able to live freely in this moment, who we truly are. So, that's the program. That's what we're here for. On top of that, I think it's critically important to sit with others, to sit with groups, to have these live experiences where we're all coming together and sharing this energetic emotion in the moment, sharing in this experience fully. So we're not just transforming ourselves, but we're coming together as a group, and we're transforming consciousness itself, and we're then carrying that back into our communities and drawing more people in, attracting more people in with the freedom that we're experiencing. So these sits with programs, these sits with events are a very important part of that program, of coming together to sit and meditate with each other, and using that group energy to then go back into our personal meditation practices and infuse it with more vibration and higher resonance. So we'll be doing these every week. It'll probably be Thursday nights. We might have some other nights too. And then pretty soon I'll be launching a program that's a 5-week program that's more of an intensive, where we'll meet from an hour a week, and there'll be different work that we do in that. So that's kind of the program. The live events are going to be super fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's great to have you here tonight. And if you're just watching this now from the app, or from your phone, join the next one and come be a part of this radical transformation that we're trying to do. So with that, we'll move into the meditation, and a few tips on your meditation. Make sure you're in a comfortable seat. I think everybody knows that, but it's worth reminding that we're going to sit for about 15 minutes. So if you can find a nice comfortable seat, that's great. I like something behind my back. I know traditionally in yoga and Buddhist meditation, they're sitting on a cushion. You're more than welcome to do that, but I like the support of the back. I like the grounding of the back. Um, and whether you're sitting in a chair or a cross-legged position, just make sure your legs are comfortable, and that you can find a nice solid space where you can breathe fully and deeply. Um, I'm gonna turn down the lights a little bit so it's not so bright during this meditation piece. That also helps me to go within. And then last thing is just kind of um, try not to focus too much on things that are going on around you. Try to really bring your awareness into that inner space, because that's what we're looking to transform. So let me turn the lights down a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I have an app to turn my lights down. Yep. So so let's get started. Close the eyes, find a comfortable seat, and as you begin that inner journey, notice your breath, notice your body, notice your feeling, experiencing that inner space and that inner sense, that inner aliveness, and the life force that flows through you. Feeling all that electricity and energy that makes you aware of your body and your breath. And begin to feel that inhale and that exhale, cultivating this rhythm of 4 counts to the inhale and 4 counts to the exhale. Linking that inhale right back into your exhale. And at the bottom of that exhale, moving right back into the inhale. No spaces between the breath. Now that you've established that breath, we'll begin to incorporate that statement, that state we are meant to be in. So on your next inhale, internally repeating, I, exhaling, live, inhaling my, exhaling vibration. Keeping that internal repetition synced up to your breathing. I live my vibration. I live my vibration. Keep it going, keeping that rhythm, keeping that pace, keeping that repetition, creating and cultivating that quality within. And when we set these intentions, when we begin to resonate with these qualities, we may meet resistance in our past patterns. We may meet resistance in our programmed paradigms. And it's that consistency of the breath. It's that consistency of the statement that gently dissolves that, eroding away like a river on a rock. Even if you encounter resistance, don't go into your story. Don't go into your past and your future, looking to shame and blame, fear and anger. Keep with that quality of the breath. Keep with that gentle rhythmic pace. Keep with that state you're meant to be in. And just gently nudge up against that resistance. Just holding it slightly away from you, slightly outside of you, not letting it come in. Holding it there and allowing it to be experienced from this state of presence, from this state of fullness, even if it's painful, even if it's challenging. You can still hold both. You can still have that quality and have that realization that there's a lot of patterns in your life. There's a lot of programmed paradigms that have led you to not live from your vibration, that have taught you your vibration was not acceptable. Breathe in, breathe out. Cultivate that quality to your awareness. Cultivate that quality to your energy and your vibration and your resonance. And wherever that's been stunted, wherever that's been shamed, use this breath. Use that statement to crack it and dissolve it and break down those walls from you living fully free, fully realized, fully recognized, radically you, yourself, your own. Beautiful. I live my vibration. Continue to repeat that mantra and cultivate that statement. Connect with your breathing and resonate with your energy. Begin to sense and feel that energy of those around you. Begin to sense and feel that energy of each other, and knowing that we're supporting each other in our vibration by fully acknowledging, fully engaging, and fully realizing the quality and connection, the truth and authenticity of our vibration. We share that space. We share that freedom. We share that safety of others to live in their vibration. Send that out to all those around you, to each other. We live our vibration. We live our vibration. Be in that space. Be in that energy. Resonate with that quality and dissolve all illusion. You are free. You are great. You are magic. Slowly begin to come back out. And gently open the eyes. Return to the room. And just take a moment to look around and appreciate and resonate and affirm that energy. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Like I said, we'll be doing this every week. I hope it grows. I hope to see hundreds, thousands of people sitting with us and sharing in this vibration and sharing with this energy. It's truly a joy to see you this evening. Thank you. Good night.